currency is a system of money in common use within a specific environment over time, especially for people in a nation state. For example, the British uses pound sterling, the United States uses dollar, the Japanese uses yen, and our dear country Nigeria uses naira. The naira was introduced on the 1st of January 1973, replacing the Nigerian pound at a rate of £1 to 2 naira. The name Naira was coined by late Chief Obafemi Awolowo and was launched by late Shehu Shagari as Minister of Finance in 1973. However, since its introduction as the official legal tender in the country, it has continually experienced one form of fluctuation or the other against other foreign currencies.
Don't value what we have, and it's from the top. We know how detrimental it is for the value of £1 to be equivalent to 2,000 naira. It's affecting our economy, and we all know that. We all know that, and we know what we can do. First, we should be a country that produce. We need to, before, when you were talking about agriculture was in vogue, it wasn't about only oil. It doesn't have to do with our oil alone. Agriculture was in vogue.
Nigeria was a production country. We have a lot of companies in Nigeria, both local and foreign. We have a lot of multinationals. We have a lot of corporate organizations. We even have a lot of farms that produce. And that time in particular, Nigeria, we produce what we eat. We grow what we eat.
And it's very obvious that the Nigeria we had then is not longer the Nigeria we have now. Then there were about 6 manufacturing car plants in Nigeria. Fuel refining, we're refining our fuels in all the refineries we're working, and we had over 2 million barrels per day of exported fuel, which was refined in this country. Right now, we barely get up to 2 million barrels, 1.3, 1.6 million barrels per day, and we are still not refining it. We send it out for it to come back to our country. Also, and even Nigeria Airways was existing as at then, where our shipping lines were owned by Nigeria. So we're demanding more naira. We're exporting cocoa, wood, rice. We had of rice pyramids. We're an export-dependent nation. So it's very obvious why our currency was valued high. But over the years, we started becoming import-dependent. Our refinery stopped working. We started depending on imports. We don't have manufacturing companies any longer. What do you expect? It's the balance of trade. It's just about like import, exports, so whichever weighs more. So instead of our naira to be appreciating, which we expected it should be appreciating, it has been getting devalued because we are now an import-dependent nation.
Recently, the naira's exchange rate has retreated from the record levels it had fallen against the dollar and pounds after a series of actions taken by the central bank. And these new rates and downward trajectory promises a lot of relief to lots of problems that the country and the populace are currently experiencing.
If we are sincere and we are sure the figure being rolled out are actually the reality, not doctored figure, not persuasive figures, if this is what actually obtains international market, obtained with the shares, then our hope is high. And this will come to significant difference when we produce and when we trade less in dollar, in international market.
A lot of businesses are also being cautious because they are trying to still maximize their profit margin, and they are also scared that is it something that could go down and suddenly spike up again, like it has happened in the past. So these are decisions a lot of businesses are making. So it's about trust. If everyone trusts the government, and government too could push policies to increase the confidence in business that this is not something that is going to come back up. And I think a lot of businesses can still bring the price down. But in all honesty, I still think there's still a good factor in some businesses.
It is important for governments to devise a mechanism as majority of the citizens are calling for price control of goods and services to alleviate the hardship being experienced by the people as a result of the fictitious dollar rise attributed to every commodity. Morning Safari continues in the studio. All right, you're welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment, and we have our guest here with us in the studio in person of Dr. Felix Benga Olaifa. He is from the Department of Economics and Development Studies, KWASU. It's nice to have you join us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, you're welcome. In 1973, pounds was equivalent to 2 naira, and presently 1 pound is about 2,000 naira. What do you think caused the naira to weaken this much?
Thank you very much for the question. I will start by saying the crash in the value of naira vis-a-vis the pound, dollar, or the strong currencies in the world actually started in the early 70s. And it is simply because of the fact that Nigeria struck oil, and other sectors of the economy began to collapse. Basically, there's what we call the Dutch disease syndrome, and it simply means that in any economy, once there's a breakthrough in the natural resource sector, for Nigeria oil, crude oil, it begins to have a negative effect on the other sector, manufacturing, agriculture, and then the focus is on that single sector that gives the revenue. And for Nigeria, since oil was struck, other sectors have been attention have shifted away from them, and therefore the value of, for your currency to be strong, you have to sell, you have to produce and export. So once that is not happening in that sector, the one sector that is driving the economy will be over appreciated. That's the only foreign currency Nigeria gets is only from crude oil. And then it's subjected to a lot of factors beyond our control. We can have glut, we can have boom. So that in itself will make the naira to be constrained. And then all of a sudden Nigeria began to have taste for foreign products, foreign goods, and begin to import. So we demand more dollar, more pound than naira is demanded. So that disequilibrium over time resulted to naira crashing. So, and that's where we find ourselves where we are today. So basically, the idea of the Dutch disease is not only in Nigeria, it's across the world. Any country that is blessed. So it's something, it has finally become something that we call a natural resource cost, so to say. Instead of being a blessing in the long run, it now becomes the opposite. And I think that's what Nigeria has been suffering. Basically.
So as an economics expert, what do you think can be done to further strengthen the naira?
Yeah, quite a lot of things can be done to strengthen the naira. The first and the most important is to address our productive capacity. If we begin to manufacture things today, let's assume that agriculture go back to its pride of place that it used to be in the 60s, and then manufacturing base. Nigeria has lost, we know what our manufacturing sector is more in the comatose. If we can resuscitate all those sectors, definitely we begin to become a productive economy. Our exports will boost because the export has a direct effect on the balance of payment position. And when you're able to have the balance of payments, means that you're able to show up some adequate foreign reserve into, and then the supply of dollar naturally is abundant in the economy. The naira is a matter of equilibrium between the currency, the naira, and the dollar. Yes. So once there is that shortage, as we explained shortly before the CBN began to take some steps now. Yes, it will. But the first thing is production. Because when you produce, for foreigners will demand for your products, you are able to sell, demand for the naira, and we demand for dollar. So if that equilibrium happens, naira will begin to grow gradually. As against what we have had many years ago, where the naira is being supported and supported and supported. So once that happens, it's a matter of demand and supply, and with time, it will gain strength and it will be sustained.
Okay, the Naira redesign of 2022 was implemented to strengthen the Naira. Do you think the policy was correct?
It is not correct. It is not, because the Naira redesign it does not have any basis to strengthen the Naira. Okay. In fact, at best, which I will even say at worst, it can even perhaps weaken it, because if its policy was, imagine we have the old notes, and then we have the new one, and eventually, there should be for a particular period of time, there is what we call the money supply, and the money supply that is within the economy should be such that will not bring inflationary trend and pressure on, So if, though the way it was implemented too was not actually well thought out, because as you can see, early last year, the old note and the new note, at the point it was that at some time they will be together, and at the point the old one will phase out. But eventually, even the production, even the available new note that circulated, we saw it was not actually much. So I think midway, if that money, let's assume that I think Nigeria have about 27 trillion, in terms of cash that's run around. Now imagine that you now added to that without having the idea of this how much we are taking out of the old notes to add the new notes. It will just naturally push up inflation. And when inflation goes up, it means the value of the currency has gone down. Yeah. So it wasn't, I think for me, it was a way of trying to perhaps get back to people that have ordered the Naira, or people that are trying to, in price of laundering the money. You can as well use that to fight corruption and everything, but not to strengthen the value of the Naira. Because if care is not taken, it will work the opposite and perhaps drop the value of Naira.
Okay, in place of that Naira redesign policy, what other policy could have come at that time to further strengthen the Naira? Okay,
the policy that we have come to strengthen the Naira, like I keep saying, is about, because Naira, I think the basic problem is that in Nigeria, people speculate dollar to Naira. That space is what should be addressed. What are those factors that are making Nigerians to feel that, okay, let me buy dollar and keep, and then sell later on? It then means that people are not being patriotic enough. At all. If I buy dollar today because I feel, let me just buy and keep, and I expect that dollar to appreciate against Naira, and then I sell it in the next 3 months, it means I will make profit. I'm trading currency. That means that I'm wishing my own currency to go down. But what I don't know is that by the time I sell that dollar, I'm making inflation will have caught up with me. So at the end of the day, it's the case of 1 + 1 - 1. So you will not be. So if we realize that fact, that we should support our own currency. So I think even more, another way is even awareness, moral suasion. The National Regulatory Agency, NOA, should do more to make citizens understand that the Naira belongs to us. And if we wish our Naira to keep weakening against the dollar, we will be worse off for it. So that's I think it should be.
Okay, thank you. In the last couple of weeks, so to say, the Naira keeps appreciating. How sustainable is this?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think on that, it is sustainable.
Okay.
And why I'm saying that is that we have to go back and see how that was achieved. Yes, the CBN under Olayemi Cardoso is actually doing well, at least from what we are seeing. Because when the Naira started crashing, we were all worried. In fact, the record of it that the all-time lowest was 1,534, but it actually went in black market to 1,915, and it was so bad. But when they started taking measures, one of the first measures they did was to cleanse the sector. Nigeria had so many BDCs, very countless, but as we speak today, they have streamlined them to 1,500 to service the whole country, and now the CBN gives them $10,000 per week. Gone are the time that you can go and buy dollar. You cannot buy dollar now. If you want dollar, they will tell them what you need dollar for. You want to pay school fees, you want to pay medical fees outside the country, you give them the details, they pay. They will not give you the dollar. So now people don't have access to physical dollar. And now it has tidied the system. So it means that, and before you go back the BDC to get the next allocation of dollar, you will show them evidence of how you allocated the one given to you. So it has now made it cleaner in that aspect. The second part is that with the crash that as it is now coming down, Nigerians are now afraid. Nobody is ordering that anymore. People that have it at home have brought them out.
Selling off.
Yes, but if you don't do it now, you may still lose more per time. So all those things now. But now to sustain this, I think we can look at it in two ways. The first one, like I said, is a long run thing, but we can start now by increasing our production.
Okay.
So that with time we have something to sell. Because if we don't do that, it's just a matter of time. What the CBN is doing now is cosmetic, because all they are doing is to go deplete our foreign reserve to support the Naira. Okay. Because from 5th of March to 5th of April, within that 1 month, the CBN has spent $595 million to support the Naira. So our foreign reserve was around $33.89 billion. As today, it's around $33.3 billion. So it's just to support. So we cannot continue. It's not sustainable if we continue that way.
Like that.
If you do not begin to quickly build up our agricultural base, manufacturing base, you cannot, because the time will come that the CBN will discover that, oh, we are depleting the foreign reserve, and then they will again go back and say, okay, Naira should find its value, and then we go back to the same trajectory. So I think those are just the only way. The only way is to produce.
Okay.
When you buy and you do not produce, you will run out your reserve. You will not have anything. Your balance of payment situation will be severe, a deficit, and then but for now, I believe and I'm very optimistic that it can be sustained if the right things are done.
Okay, hopefully.
Yes.
Since the Naira started appreciating over the dollar, we have yet to see the resultant effect on the prices of commodities in the market. Meanwhile, when it was depreciating and dollar was rising against Naira, people keep giving excuses. Is right. That's what is responsible for the high cost of goods and services. Why is this?
Okay. Just like you said, is when negative things usually have quick impacts and than the positive. It's just, I think it's even a natural phenomenon. Just like a bad news spreads faster than good ones. So when, like you have said, when dollar started appreciating, everybody was shouting, dollar is going up. Some people are telling me that even people that sell,
they will tell you dollar, and all of that.
But for me, I felt that even they too, they have the right, because if they don't increase their price, other things are increasing. How would they survive? So even though what they are selling does not have direct bearing on dollar, but they still have to increase their price so that they can also
meet
survive.
Up with cost of living.
But basically, we cannot expect a quick response in price coming down for about 3 reasons. The first one is what we call the lag. Okay. So lag naturally is usually what we call the period of time between when a policy is implemented and when you feel the effects. So that time between is a lag. And don't forget.
So how long will that be?
Okay, yes. In this case, lag cannot really have a defined period. Okay. It is just a period of time. Okay. Though I will agree that the upward movement of the price that time was so fast, it was immediate. The prices went out of the roof. But now coming down is now difficult. So the lag, that's one, it takes time. Number two, that the people that sell things, the marketers, suppliers, sales people that they would claim that they have stock their market with the old rate. So they have to sell at that price. It's when they now go to restock, perhaps they will now be able to sell at a lower price. That's another factor. Another thing is that economic theory has taught us that prices and income, now we're talking about price. Prices are sticky downward. The Keynesian School of Economics has proven that prices can rapidly shoot up, but it's sticky downward. Okay. It's just a natural thing, So even when the price will come down, it may not come down with the same percentage at which it went up. Okay. That's the truth. If assuming dollar doubled and prices were doubled, now the dollar has come down by, I think as I yesterday, about 46%. Okay. Then the price may not come down as 46%. Maybe we can do a reduction of maybe 25%. So that's another part. And another important reason is that we Nigerians too, the way we are. Yes. People try to take advantage of situations. So now there's what they call this consumer surplus. So producer. We are the consumers. Those that say are the producer. So they are enjoying some level of supernormal profit, which they are already used to. So bringing the price down now, they will be reluctant to do that. Okay. So for us to see that, I'm back to the National Revenue Agency again, NOA. Because I remember when I was growing up, we were seeing a lot of NOA activities. They were so active. In fact, and you know that the way they act, when they do stuff like that, we may not understand that it goes a long way. It does. When people listen to them, they talk. You won't understand what it's their campaigns. It affects us.
Okay.
So if they should do more now, we should be our brother's keepers. So try and be sincere. Don't, because I feel that they have their organizations too, people that sell.
Yes.
Say, oh, let's just reduce it a little so that we can make more profit. Why not reduce it in a sincere manner so that at least life can be better for everyone?
In the same proportion with which it
went come down.
up.
Yes. But when they go up, they are quick to throw it up. But when they come down, everybody, even for someone that has gone to the stock, person may still want to lie that. No, I'm still selling the whole stock I have in my shop. So these are the things that NOA may come in and still assist.
Okay, let's quickly talk about price control. What is price control? Okay. And can it be implemented by the government?
Okay. Price control is a system where government policymakers try to say, okay, let's have a price ceiling for a commodity. Usually it's not done for all commodities, but usually for a commodity that is controversial, more or less in an economy. So we say price ceiling. The price cannot go above this. Okay. For Nigeria now, we may say rice, because rice is staple food. No, so if we now say, for example, rice should not be sold above, for example, 40,000 naira. A lot of, there will be reactions. That's what they call rational expectation. People that, sellers of rice, and everybody will like, oh, this policy, how can we circumvent it? And then, that's price control anyway. Government stating a threshold of price. Okay. But it's usually, in fact, the other day I was hearing Femi Falana-San saying he was making case for this, that government should quickly step in and regulate prices. I just mind, because it cannot work.
Why not?
Yes. The reason is that it normally has a counter effect. When governments try to do that, it leads to hoarding. That's number one. It leads to hoarding. The only people that have such products, the first thing they do is to keep it. So you just go to where you buy rice normally, where they say, you cannot see rice there anymore. Government cannot begin to go to people's houses and begin to bust their houses to bring out rice. And then they begin to see black markets. So they need to sell it to people at times
the price now higher.
So government policy that is meant to assist people to make life better cannot even have a counter effect that even the price will not even go higher. Okay. Just like what we talk about smuggling. So people are saying smuggling. Why not make cocaine, all those drugs, make them free? The way you make them free, the price crashes. Do you get that?
Yes.
What makes cocaine to be expensive? Because it's a contraband. If today it's a free good, it will not be valuable anymore. Okay. So the same thing. So if government, but for government to be successful in doing price control, I think there should be incentives. Countries that have done it successfully, they make sure that they are in control of the supply. Look at America. America will buy all the grains. So that's why in a country like America, the price is the same all through the year. There's no time that grain is higher or lower. It's fixed. Because government will mop it up. And then government begins to supply the market at a fixed quantity all through the year. So there's no time of the year that you say this product is so expensive or cheap. It's the same. Okay. So when government wants to, you make sure you mop up those things, and then when you are the one that is in charge of the supply, you can control the price. But your government is not in charge of the supply. Somebody can even say, okay, I bought this rice at 60,000. You now want to sell it at 45 because you have set price control. So it does not really work that way. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Felix Wenger, for coming on the program. What advice do you have for citizens in terms of the economy and all of that, going to production at different levels, start something no matter how small?
Okay. Thank you very much. My own advice is that, if you say, we'll start with a policy angle. Policy should be there first that can make people's effort to thrive. For example, look at power. Look at the lending rate. Now, we can see that at the last MPC meeting of March 26 to 27, the MPC has jacked up the interest rates. Now, having access to to lend now is more costly. So what do you expect will happen to a starter? How do they survive? So policy, that policy is good in the aspect that government policy the CBN was targeting inflation. Because when you hike in interest rates, business cannot loan more money. It will step down the overheating economy and inflation will come down. That's the idea. But it will hurt starters.
Just beginners.
Yes. Okay. So, but how we naturally produce. So we have to start. Look at China today. Everybody's a producer. So if we can move towards that, the whole economy as a whole the multiplier effect will be there, and then eventually things will be fine.
All right, once again, thank you for coming on the program. It's so nice to have you around. It's now time. Let's take a musical break.